Game journalists love to support things that hurt the industry, like censorship. Creatives deserve the freedom to make what they feel passionate about because those projects always end up the best, but these journos are perfectly fine with supporting awful practices like this and companies forcing developers to change things from previous versions of games when it comes to remakes. It's like they want the industry to be destroyed, but now we have a new wave of articles released saying how it's okay Ashley's outfit has been censored in the Resident Evil 4 remake, and they even try to claim it's not even censorship. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube membership. So, not surprisingly, all three of these articles are actually by The Gamer. You would think that a website called The Gamer would actually care about the industry, but no, that's not true. There are three articles that were all posted yesterday by the three female journalists that they have, all attacking this game and attacking people who are upset over the censorship in this game. So let's start with this first one. Not being able to look up character skirts is a win. It's not hard to find lists of games where you can look up girls' skirts. Developers have been including detailed underwear designs for decades, even in family-friendly games like Super Smash Bros. And Hot Shots Golf, knowing that people would be hoping for creep shots. However, some modern-day remakes of those old games are taking away the ability to do this, much to the dismay of weirdos everywhere. Most recently, it was announced that in the Resident Evil 4 remake, you would no longer be able to see up Ashley's skirt like you could in the original, which for some reason made gamers really mad. Now, I have covered this quite a few times on the channel, and the reason why it upsets me is because it was a part of the original game, and this is supposed to be a remake, meaning you are supposed to be remaking the content. It is supposed to be as close to that original game as possible, and this was a pretty big deal, not just because you were looking up a character's skirt, but because they even had dialogue for when you looked up her skirt. I mean, she would call you a perv and a creep, and then she'd like shove you away. Plus, in some versions of Resident Evil 4, there were achievements for it, so when you remove something that's been part of the game, it is gonna upset people. It says, I'm not sure why gamers feel the need to look up the skirts of animated female characters just to get their rocks off. It's not about getting your rocks off, it's about appreciating the content that the original developers made, and they happen to put this in the game, so I need to respect it. And so should you, but you don't really care because you're willing to, play a part in the destruction of this industry. It says, though, the reaction to remasters or remakes covering up characters' panties is usually that this is woke PC BS or censorship, and that they're taking a crucial part of the game's appeal away. Some players even said no panties, no buy in response to not being able to see her underwear anymore, which, okay, it's incredibly weird that people feel entitled to creepshot women and young girls in video games just because nobody real is getting hurt. I think that it's funny that they point out young girls because let's look at Ashley for a minute. She's supposed to be 20 in the game. She is young, yes, but she's not like under 18, which they're of course trying to make you upset with the fact that, wow, people want to look up a young girl's skirt. When you hear young girl, you're not thinking of a 20-year-old. They also go on to talk about a couple of different examples like Lollipop Chainsaw, Near Replicant, but they also go on to say even if she hadn't been intersex. I still dislike that players are being rewarded to look up characters' skirts. I don't think players should have to creep shot characters to get an achievement in a game, even if they're just characters. It's an indicator of a larger pattern of misogyny in gaming, and they also go on to say that what is being added by giving players the ability to do this, especially while adding in the expressed discomfort of the characters, why do players want to do this at all? Yes, they're just characters, but it adds nothing to the games and instead reflects and potentially encourages misogynistic behavior in real life. These games are created by men, the female characters are heavily sexualized for men, and their discomfort is a gag for men. Now, my question here, because they're talking about it encouraging misogynistic behavior in real life, is by what science? How do they come to that conclusion? Do they have a study? Of course not. It is the same thing where these people claim violence in video games causes violence in real life, which isn't the case, and there have been plenty of studies proving these claims wrong. Sexual in fictional games with fictional characters does not cause misogyny. Looking up skirts is a comedic trope that's been in anime and Japanese video games for a long time, and they even admit that at the beginning of the article. No matter how hard these people try and pretend and convince you it's harmful, this isn't real life and it's not harmful to any real person. Sure, it's abnormal in real life, but in video games, it is very normal. The erasure of it isn't going to just erase this one act, but it's part of this larger plan to desexualize characters, which is a part of the grand modern day message. Unfortunately, I talk about this a lot where, it seems like many games that are being remade and remastered are changed due to modern day audiences, and this is just another big example of that. Now, like I mentioned, there are 3 articles on this topic that the gamer mentions. The second one is titled Resident Evil 4 No Longer Sexualizing Its Women is a Good Thing, and it basically just reiterates all of the points that I previously read, talking about how it's okay that they censored her skirt even though it is not okay. But this next article by Stacey Henley is the one that really caught my attention. They straight up say Ashley's underwear in Resident Evil is not censorship. Congratulations, angry gamers, the word censorship has officially lost all meaning. It is at its most literal, the suppression of speech, but that definition leaves a lot of room for interpretation. Some cases are very clear. The government telling a newspaper that they can't report negative stories on said government is obviously censorship. If you were denied access to a television appearance or had a book deal canceled because you were black or Jewish, that is also censorship. But now they're saying seeing Ashley Graham's panties in Resident Evil 4 Remake is not censorship. It is censorship because you're literally changing what the original art direction was. Not only are you changing the outfit, you are removing a part of the game where you would previously earn an achievement and there was dialogue. That is the definition of censorship. You can think that it's creepy or doesn't belong all you want, but that doesn't mean it's not censorship. Defending the tropes isn't even why I'm technically here. By removing them, it is censoring the title, and that is what I am against, which is why I'm responding to these people. If content was here before in the original and not here after the remake, that is the definition of censorship, and if they do not know that, they really need to go to Google and look it up. It says, censorship, even self-censorship, is a real thing and it can be a problem. Devotion is probably the starkest example of the practice in our medium. The Taiwanese game was pulled from stores all over the world when it was found to have a mural that appeared to mock the Chinese leader. That is real censorship. It's a government stepping in to cease art that levies criticism towards the most powerful figures in the world. They go on to say, though, that that basically looking up her skirt isn't censorship and this game hasn't been censored because the game you're talking about is not Resident Evil 4. It is a remake based on Resident Evil 4, which houses many changes to the gameplay, narrative structure, and character designs. But the problem with that argument is that it is literally titled Resident Evil 4. While yes, it is a remake and some things might be slightly different, it copies the same characters, the same story, the same narrative structure. It does copy the same gameplay. It is basically just a revamped version of that original title. So arguing, well, it's still a different game is absolutely ridiculous here. Now, obviously, I am against any censorship, but if I wanted to complain about this game, I don't think I'd be going after panties. This is a title filled with guts and blood and violence. I would view that as the #1 issue here. But instead of attacking that, oh no, a way a woman is dressed is worse, that makes zero sense in my opinion. And again, this all circles back to the skirt, and women wearing skirts shouldn't be a bad thing. It's not bad to wear something that's feminine. These very people talk about empowering women, yet they're also more than happy to attack women or people defending a woman and what she's wearing or what someone designed a woman in. To get rid of sex appeal is puritanical. Are we going back to the 50s where we're covering everyone up again? Couples can't sleep in the same bed anymore? That is certainly not a world that I want to live in, and not a world that anyone should want to live in. And I think all of these articles are absolutely ridiculous. Again, I think that it's pretty hilarious that the gamer had all 3 of their female journalists come out and put out very similar articles on the same day. This new wave of attacking this game and attacking gamers has started, and I bet it's going to heat up over the next week and a half until the title releases, but I am more than happy to call out any ridiculous and absurd articles like this that they happen to release in the future. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.